Good morning and welcome to the third act presentation. We are so excited to be here. We understand this is the first time that something of this nature has been presented at the NOW conference, so we're excited to be the first here. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the third act. What is the third act? The first act is childhood, going to school and learning about all those basics, family stuff. And then the second act is when you're in college and you get married and you're developing a career and you're growing your family. And the third act is when you're kind of winding down from that kind of productive life where you're focused on career and family and personal growth, personal success. So today we're going to talk about a different kind of success. How can you be successful after your career or while you're completing your career? Most of us, probably all of you in this room, are still working. So this talk this morning is about getting prepared for your next stage, your third act. And it's really wonderful to take the time now to think about it rather than just have it hit you later on when you do retire. It's very important to plan and think about how you want your life to be after your work career. And you might also want to continue to work. Many of us want to continue to work. Certainly Ellie and I do, and that's why we're here, but we're working in it in a different way than we did before. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm Patricia Cavanaugh. Sorry, my voice is shaking a little bit here. So my name is Patricia Cavanaugh, and I'm the owner of the Third Act, and I'm a psychotherapist and have a practice in Berkeley. I've been in business for 30 years. And I started the Third Act in 2008. I'm also a life coach, a third age life coach. And I'm the kind of person that likes to plan ahead for good times. So I plan my vacation 6 months or a year or two ahead. I like to have something to look forward to. So when I was in my early 60s, I knew I was going to be changing jobs and shifting careers at 65, do something else. And so I went to a career counselor at that time and talked with her, went to her for a number of sessions and began to think about what might I like to do that took my passions and my signature strengths along with me, but in a different context. I was working in a clinic at the time and had been there for many, many years. So I wanted a different context, but I wanted to use the same skill set that I had before. So we worked, and I came up with the concept of the third act. I'm very excited about transformational work. And for me, the third act is an opportunity to go back and revisit maybe ideas and dreams and things you had to set aside when you were raising your children or building your career. And so it was time to kind of look back and bring forward things that you had to set aside, or even new things that you've always thought about doing but never did, or just new things that come along. So I wanted to be involved with people that were thinking in that way, that were thinking about how can I do more in my life? Not less, not ratchet down, but keep growing and keep going. So anyway, I started in 2008, and just wanted to tell you a little story about one of my previous clients. I had an HR person come to me who was really concerned about her VPs who were retiring. It was a really large construction company, worldwide construction company, and she had about 30 VPs who had been in the business with the company for 35 years. And she knew that a number of them were getting ready to retire. And she had a personal experience with her father, who had his financial ducks all in a row, done all of that work, was ready, had his pension, everything was set. She thought he would be in great shape. He retired and went into a deep depression. because he didn't have a life plan, she realized. He didn't know what to do with himself after 35 years at work. He had the money coming in, but he didn't have a plan. And so that's what this morning is about a plan. And so we developed a corporate plan for them so that she could feel rest assured that her folks were going to be well taken care of and have a great life after they left the company. So that's what we're about this morning. So that's a little bit about me. And now I'm going to introduce, I'm going to turn it over to Ellie. And Ellie has a very different story about how she started her third act. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Patricia. Well, good morning and welcome. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm glad all of you are here with us for the next hour or so. My name is Ellie Clevens, and unlike Patricia, I didn't plan at all for my third act. I was working in Silicon Valley in human resources my entire career, about 30 years, and thought that in my current job that I would probably retire from that position. And unfortunately, with the recession that happened, my employer had a different idea for what would occur. And you think if you work in human resources, you can see everything coming, right? I did not at all see that coming. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? I'll just do what I've always done. I'll find myself another job. And it wasn't so easy. The economic recession, coupled with being over 50, I realized, was not the greatest thing that I had going for me. So I looked and looked and looked and tried, and I was pretty down, probably more down than I've ever been, because I had always had an identity with my career, successful career person. So I thought, well, if I can't find a job myself, I can help other people find a job, because that's what I'm good at. I worked in human resources. I've hired many, many hundreds of people. I know what it takes to be successful, how to get a job. I'll go help others. So I went to the local EDD office where you couldn't get a parking place in the EDD office in 2009, right? There were so many people there in need of help. And I walked in to volunteer my services. And I thought, oh my God, they're going to be so happy to see me, right? Well, they weren't. They said, I'm sorry, we don't accept volunteers for that particular role. And I was just curious, like, well, why not? I mean, my background. And anyway, it took me about 6 months and multiple interviews to get the volunteer position. And my friends would say, God, you can't even get a volunteer job. I mean, it was like, but I persevered. I mean, I would almost laugh, like, I'm going to call them again. I'm just going to see what happens. Luckily, they said, why don't you come and help people with their resumes, review resumes? I'm like, I can do that. So I went in and, helped people. And what I realized by helping others, it really helped me. Because after a day of working there, I just felt, wow, I did something with my day. I had something to offer, and I think I might have made a difference. Anyway, long story short, I ended up working for the county for a couple of years during the worst part of the recession. And then when that contract assignment ended, I'm thinking, well, now what? Well, I knew that a traditional job wouldn't be probably, available to me. So I decided that I would continue doing the career coaching and helping people get back to work. And one of the things that I realized that when the economy was starting to improve and all the people at the unemployment office started to get back to work, the people that were left in the room were people my age and older. And I recognized that, we need a different way to get back to work. For most of us, the job that we left or a similar job might not be available or even possible for us now. So what we need to do is recreate and reinvent a new future. And that's the work that I love to do. So that's how I found Patricia, and we partnered together in the third act, and we're both very excited to be here with you this morning. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see. I am not a tech person, so I'm hoping I'm pushing the right. Nope, that's too far. Let's see. Well, I'm going to go back. So I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be covering this morning. So these are concepts that you can use now. Actually, we encourage you to use them now so that you can be, thanks, so that you can be really,
On your next slide?
No.
no,
Please stand by. That's it.
that's it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I got to click each button, right, to make it.
So you need to go back, I guess.
So thanks for your patience. So we want you to be able to use this information while you're working now. All of the things that we're talking about are great to keep you engaged in what you're doing now and using these concepts and ideas as you move forward into your third act. So don't just think that you can wait and you can use these later. This is for now while you're still here at UC Berkeley. So let's see if I can get the next slide up. So one of the things about the third act, this next stage, is that there are really unexpected challenges. This is the first time in the history of the planet that so many of us have been this age, educated, healthy, vibrant human beings. It's the very first time. This has never, ever, ever happened before. So there's a huge paradigm shift happening in our culture right now. The way we thought about aging in the past is starting to end, but you guys, we're all the pioneers for this new shift, this new concept of aging, this new idea of aging. So it's uncomfortable and it's challenging because we don't have the role models that we've had before. So we're going to be asking you to think about letting go of old ways of thinking about aging and embracing some new ideas or trying on some new ideas of aging. And we're wanting this next stage of your life, the third act, to be full of happiness and well-being here and now while you're working and beyond. You know, some of us at the end of our work career kind of ratchet down and kind of just, are going through the motions. And we are wanting you to re-engage in your work and then take that forward. So I think you're next, right, Ellie?
Are there a couple more chairs over here? Would any? Okay.
There's 3 over here.
All right. Come one, come all. It's time for a partner exercise. Okay. So one of the things that we're going to be talking about is happiness and well-being. And so what I would like for you to do for a moment is think about one of the best jobs that you ever had. And what about that job did you most enjoy? So for me, I had the opportunity to work at a startup, and I worked with a really smart group of people. In fact, they were also smart and creative, and we had an opportunity to build something together from the ground up. And I just love being part of a team, and I love being at kind of at the front end of a project or a startup. That really excited me. So that was like one of my favorite jobs. So what I'd like for you to do now is find a partner, or if there's an uneven number at your table, 3 of you can talk, and just share with that person, what was one of the best jobs you ever had, and specifically, what about that job really lit you up? What did you really enjoy? So we're going to give you about 5 minutes for this exercise, and then we'll tell you when we're about halfway through when it's time to switch partners. Okay, so everybody find a partner. What was your best job and what did you enjoy? Who would be willing to share an example of something you really enjoyed about one of the best jobs you ever had? Can we hear an example? Thank you. Oh, all of that, right? Oh, no, you can't. Monica, thank you.
Okay, well, my favorite job was actually a volunteer job that I do. I work with Habitat for Humanity. And my favorite part about that job is empowering other women on how to use power tools or hammers or whatever. A lot of them don't know how. And
awesome.
Yeah. So by the end of the day, they're cutting stuff and, all that with no problem at all. So,
fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Thank you for sharing that example. Anybody else? Yay, thank you. Thank you, Suzanne. Okay. Good. We'll give you some microphone help here.
Well, I worked on campus since 1977 in different roles, but I
Wow.
worked at the Associated Students, and I think what I was most happy about is I worked with the students. We had students who ran the student union, and you
Yeah.
became more of a mentor.
Right.
And I still, to this day, are friends with these students.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're older, but yeah, we
Right,
get together.
right.
So
We're older. Yeah.
But I think that made me happy, how I helped these students, and
Yeah.
we're here at Berkeley.
Absolutely. Fabulous. Thank you very much. Thank you. So we're going to get kind of, do you have one? Yeah. Thank you.
I actually have two.
Okay. Take it away.
So I've had two jobs that I've really loved. One was teaching high school, where I really made a difference in my students' lives, and I know that because I still hear from them 35 odd years later. The second job is the job I have now at the university, where I have great colleagues, I have a supportive boss, and if we're not taking advantage of the opportunities, we get a gentle nudge to say, go to this. So the support and the encouragement, the opportunity to learn something new every day, that's what's really key.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any others? Yeah.
I was just going to say that I really like the job I'm in now as an undergrad advisor, but I think it's helping. I believe in each one reach one, each one teach one, and I like the fact that the students come back, or like I got one of the jobs that. When I leave here, I'm going into photography, and I do it for the department. But I think what touched my heart recently was a letter from a student that said, thank you for taking this particular shot that my mother just loves of me at college, and for just, taking the time to take the pictures and the memories. So for me, that is like, wow, it's a double shot, because it's really telling me that yes, my next place will be photography, and I'm going in the right direction.
You got a message.
I got the message.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Any others? Thank you.
Hi. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm also an undergraduate advisor, and I have done it for 20 years. But prior to that, when I went to graduate school, I was intending to be a therapist. So when I was doing my practicum, I way back, I did not know how to separate, people's trauma and their issues, and I would take them home with me. And that's when I decided, I was like, I can't do that. I'm gonna go crazy. I can't help them fix their problems, and I'm just, it's not something that I'm ready for. So I decided to go into counseling and advising here, and I've been doing it for quite some time. But I reached the point where I've discovered that, our students are people. So they, needless to say, they come in with a lot of personal issues, a lot of trauma that's interfering with their academic work. And so my counseling background has really helped me help them through it. And now I was sharing with Cindy that I'm realizing that I reached the stage in my life where I'm like, I'm there, I'm mature, I can separate, their issues, I can go home, I can help them, guide them, and hopefully heal and direct them in the direction where they should be, but it's not my trauma.
Right.
So I have been revisiting, going back and getting a certification and going back to therapy work.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. Thank you.
That's good.
All right, so thank you very much for those wonderful stories, and some consistent themes that we heard from all of you that we're going to be underscoring in our presentation today is really having the opportunity to do work that you enjoy, that plays to your strengths, that serves others, the opportunity to work with really great supportive people and feel like you've made a difference in the lives of people are really key to enjoyment and engagement. And we're going to be looking for ways to kind of deepen our engagement, and also, as many of you have already said, to think about how to bring that forward into your third act. So for us, the baby boomer generation, our retirement is going to be much longer than any previous generation. Our parents and certainly our grandparents, we will be retired for a longer period of time. We just know that we're healthier, we're living longer, and our life ahead of us is going to be longer than maybe we ever even predicted or imagined. So there's going to be a lot more of us. By the year 2050, it's predicted that in the United States, that people age 65 and above will more than double in population. So we're going to have a lot of company in this journey together. And some of us actually will be retired for longer than we actually worked in a traditional workforce. So these are the statistics. There's a lot of, you hear the longevity revolution, you hear the age wave. There's a lot of press on this right now. And that's because it's a wake-up call. Like, what are we going to do with this extra life, this that we didn't really plan for? And, it's great news, isn't it? Isn't it? Well, yeah, right. Well, it is, and it also comes with it some particular challenges that we don't really have any experience for. Our previous generations don't really inform the kind of retirement that's ahead of us. Our attitudes and our beliefs that we have inherited from our parents and from our role models don't necessarily inform us about all the new possibilities and opportunities that we actually have. So as Patricia said, we're pioneering this new age. We are on the forefront of making change for new opportunities ahead of us. So we have to kind of shed some of the old beliefs and paradigms that could hold us back and create a whole new paradigm for what it means to grow older today.
So in order to shift and move into a new paradigm, we really need to look at the way it's been. How have we been viewing aging? And I don't know about you, but these are kind of the chairs that my folks had when they retired. Those comfy, cushy, lazy boy rockers. And, I remember seeing them knitting and watching TV and TV trays. And I'm not wanting that. That's not what I want in my life. That's not what I want. And so did I hear some cheers back there? So some of the words, and you'll notice they all begin with D, how we've looked at aging in the past is degeneration. Your body's starting to fall apart, things not working. Decline, maybe mental decline. Lots of people are afraid of that. Dependency, that we're going to not be able to take care of ourselves, and we're going to need to look at our friends or family for that. And just full-out depression, kind of like what I was talking about before with my HR friend whose dad really became depressed after retirement. And then, of course, the most dreaded D word, and that's the word that many of us don't even want to think about or talk about or relate to. So we want to begin to think about new ways of shifting this idea of aging and step into a new concept of aging, one that has possibilities and opportunities. So actually, actually I see because you think that this plane is taking off, but you know what it's doing? It's actually landing. And most of us that are 50 and 60 and thinking about retirement, the old idea was you kind of buckle up, you put your tray table up, you get your stuff together, and you get ready to touch down, and you want a gentle touchdown into retirement, and just kind of smooth into retirement, and then everything will be just wonderful. Well, that's not the concept that we're talking about. What we're talking about is something that some of you thought this picture was, which is we want you to take off. You don't even want to land. We want you to just take right off. And in order to do that, in order to think about your third act in this next 30 years bonus, 20, 30 years bonus, a whole other lifetime, like, how do you want to lift off? What are the tools that you can take with you to help you lift off into your life? And so we're going to give you some of those this morning. We're going to shift from the idea of degradation to the idea of, let's see if this works, renewal, and then revitalization, from decline to renewal. We want to talk about The next one, sorry you guys, this is not my strong suit. Here we go. Dependency, so independence, revitalization, renewal, rebirth. I'm just going to say these words, recreation. And then this one, which I really love, and I'm waiting for it to come up on the screen here. Rejuvenation. That this time is about all of these R words: revitalization, renewal, recreation, rejuvenation. These are words for new paradigms, and you have to really consciously think about using these words and shifting your attitude. And when you see yourself thinking about, oh gosh, this is going to be a terrible time, things are going to go bad, things are going to get worse for me as I get older, my body is going to fall apart, fight against that idea. Fight against that idea. And Ellie is going to talk more about that.
Yeah, so how do you put up the big fight, right? It's something that has to be generated, and you need to take action to generate it. So you need some help. You need your superheroes. You need your Power Rangers. You need a counterforce to help you fight the traditional views of aging, which really don't have a whole lot of value add associated with it. You know, when you think of old, you think, oh, fine wine, maybe a lovely antique. When you think of old people, you don't necessarily think of value added. So what we're asking you to do is to develop kind of new vocabulary and a new way of being, and looking at this time of your life as a time of opportunity for revitalization. You have more time, you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of resources available to you now that perhaps previous generations didn't. So why not view this time as a time to take off? But in order not to slip back into old paradigms and old beliefs, you need to balance that with a counterforce. And what we love is a model that we've been using in our work in the third act, and we have handouts for each of you at your table. And this is the work of Dr. Martin Seligman. Has anybody heard of positive psychology? Yeah. All right. So his idea when he started working in positive psychology is that most traditional therapy really doesn't work because it's just focused on dealing with a problem and trying to fix a problem. So why not focus on what makes people happy rather than just trying to fix problems? So he came up with a version of happiness, a happiness model that he actually added to and developed and created a new theory of well-being with the idea that if you have these 5 elements, you bring these 5 elements into your life, it creates a life well lived. So just briefly, positive emotions. Let's experience positive emotions. Would you be willing to play with me a little bit on this? All right, close your eyes. Take a deep, clearing breath. And bring to mind something or someone that you're grateful for. What are you grateful for? And create that image. Get that image in your mind. And take a moment to appreciate and acknowledge your gratitude. And then open your eyes when you're ready. Some of you are still appreciating. It feels good, right? I always thought Oprah was brilliant, richest woman in the world, with the idea of the gratitude journal, right? It keeps working to get in touch with positive emotions. Engagement, it's being in the flow, it's being fully engaged. Many of you shared examples of what you really enjoyed about work where you were fully engaged and involved in something that you were really good at. Positive relationships. Think of the last time when you had a really good time, when you were really happy, when you laughed a lot. I bet you weren't alone, right? So most of us enjoy the opportunity to be with people that we really like, our favorite people, and that brings well-being and positive emotion, to have those relationships. Meaning, we talked about the kinds of work like seeing women use power tools for the first time, hearing from a student 35 years later, thanking you. That's meaning. So for many of us, that meaning comes from work. And we, as we think about our third act and moving from full-time work, we need to intentionally look for ways to bring our life more meaning. And then finally, accomplishment. You know, for a job well done, looking back and say, hey, I did that. And that sense of accomplishment, along with the others, create a life well lived. So it's just, easier said than done, but we wanted to leave you with this model and as a takeaway to remind you of the work that we're doing here today, because it's just a start. It's just a start in helping you continue to plan your third act. So we'd like to share with you next a short video. It's a 5-minute video. Jane Pauley, in her third act, was invited by, I think, the AARP to go around and interview people who were in their third act, moving into retirement, and capture their stories. So we're going to see Sue and her dog Pransky, and a story about how they reinvented their life. And as you watch this video, watch it through the lens of this PERMA model and see what Sue and her dog are doing to embody this model. So, what did you see in this very brief 5-minute video? Positive emotions? What did you see?
Give us an example. Give us an example of what you saw that might work with this PERMA model that's a positive emotion. Yeah.
Happy and meaning. Yeah.
And meaning. You got meaning in there too.
Right.
Absolutely. You can see that really live and clear. Yes.
Service to others.
Right.
Yes, and that's all a part of meaning. Something beyond yourself. You know, where you're giving to mankind somehow, or nature, or art, or
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, you have to kind of nudge yourself to try something new. Yeah.
But you know, the other point with out of your comfort zone is that's an important part of active engagement, which is one of the aspects here, is that you want to stretch yourself a little bit, not too much, but a little bit out of your comfort zone, and it keeps you really focused in the work because it's not so easy. Yeah.
How to cheat? No.
Show the next ones.
Yeah,
I did too.
Yeah,
I did
right.
too.
She found a way to make it work, right? Yeah, right. Vivian. Thinking outside the box. Yeah, absolutely. Coming up with new ways to get to the goal. And also some unexpected results. I mean, she didn't expect to write a book. What about that title, A Dog Walks into a Nursing Home? Smart as that. So, yeah. One back here, yeah.
Something you really love and then sharing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, sharing the love, right? What could be better than that? Any others?
What about this last one? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, just her seeing the joy on people's faces that she was meeting with.
Right.
That's a payback right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's that, making you feel richer.
Right. Absolutely. Right. Yeah.
It seemed like in her work as a scholar, she mainly interacts with younger people. So entering this nursing home was a way for her to confront some of her own fear and discomfort about aging.
Oh.
Great.
Yeah, I've
really
seen
well
this
said.
a number of times. I never got that. But she did say, Pransky knew what to do. I was terrified.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much. Yeah.
Yes.
I think the accomplishment came being able to put the book together because she was a writer and doing that.
Yeah.
She was doing something that was fulfilling another part of her life.
Right. So sometimes when you take a step into the unknown, you think you have an expected result, and then you get a beyond expected result that wouldn't have occurred unless you stepped forward into that, right?
Right.
Great. Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
I think what's important about this PERMA model and these 5 aspects are, this is a structure for you to take forward. This is this tool for you to begin to work in your life now. How can you bring more of these elements into your life now? and moving forward to take this. So it's again using the R words and using this PERMA structure. These are tools that are really effective for developing your next stage plan.
Great, thank you. So Patricia's the planner, and I kind of fall into things, and sometimes I get lucky. So when I left my regular job and had more time, something I always wanted to do was sing. I mean, I sing in the car, I sing in the shower, but I never like sing. So they said, my friends say, just come to the community course. You don't even have to know how to sing. And I'm like, really? You promise? Because yeah, it's summer, it's Motown, you're gonna love it. And I'm like, I love Motown. I know I love Motown. I'll probably like the singing. Anyway, I had a really fabulous time and got to know a lot of new people, and we worked together to put a recital together where we invited our friends and our family and all of that. And we had 12 tunes that we had practiced doing. And we were done with the concert. And I thought, they forgot some of those tunes because we couldn't have sung all of them. We did. We had sung all of them. And I thought, that time went by so fast. What was it about this experience that I was just like transformed into this other world? And I thought, this is a lot of what I miss about working with other people, collaborating to create something and then delivering it and having kind of a performance. So I realized that we really, without knowing it and just, going to this community course, I was bringing forward what I really missed about working and some of the things that I was good at. So that's just kind of another way for you to begin thinking, as some of you are already, photography, therapy, other things that you are really good at now that you might want to consider how you would bring those skills and strengths forward into your third act. And engagement, the E, how do you get engagement? What do we know? And this is again from Martin Seligman and all of his research. Engagement happens when you're using your strengths, when you are enjoying it, because most of us like what we're good at, we also enjoy. And then have, as Patricia said, something challenging, but not overwhelming, not too daunting, but enough to push you outside the box or outside your comfort zone. So continuing to look for ways to bring more engagement into your life.
And I think actually that's something that can be really a challenge when you finish work. So because when you have structure of a work and a job and your tasks to do, you can be actively engaged there. But when you move on beyond that structure, you really have to work and plan and think about what can cause you, like Ellie's experience, she just kind of fell into this and then recognized that she was really actively engaged in singing, so much that she forgot that they sang all the songs. She was so lost in the experience. So again, we continually need to look for those opportunities. So what we'd like you to do now, so that you have something to start with when you leave this morning, we'd like you to take a little bit of time and think about which areas, one or two areas that you might be able to think about next steps. Like, what could you do to increase positive emotions or meaning in your life or accomplishment? Maybe there's a dream you've had that you haven't really been working on, and maybe you'll bring that back into your life. I actually was working with a couple a number of years ago, and the gentleman in the couple was retired, and his whole life was revolved around his wife. He hadn't really built any relationships other than his wife. He had professional relationships, but when he finished work, he didn't have anybody. And so in the relationship, in the couple, it was really out of balance, and the wife was feeling, his partner was feeling really uncomfortable with the pressure she was feeling of being the only one. And so working together with the two of them, he began over the next several months to go out and meet men in the neighborhood that were his friends in the neighborhood that he hadn't really paid any attention to before because he was working so hard. And so he decided that he would begin to build community in his neighborhood. And that group actually continues today where they meet on a regular basis, and they've taken on doing projects around the neighborhood cleanup and planting and all of that. So this is something that happened for him in his third act, and it made his wife very happy, I have to say, very happy. So take a few moments right now and refer to the perma notes that you have on the table there in the handout, and just jot down some notes about what you want to do next with one or two or three of these elements of. Does anybody feel like sharing maybe something they're going to do next? It really actually helps. Studies have shown that it helps to say out loud what you're going to do next. It actually adds power and energy to your next step. So anybody want to raise their hand with something they want to do and share out loud in the room? No? Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Monica.
So one of my passions is golden retrievers. I love them. We're on our fourth golden retriever now. So golden retriever rescue, fostering golden retrievers while they're looking for their forever home would be one of the things that we want to work on.
Thank you. What wonderful, wonderful.
Right, great. Good.
So that's meaning. That's meaning. Yes.
I think for me, possibly volunteering my photography for like nonprofits and organizations that need a story told, and they use it for websites or whatever they want to use it for, filling a need.
Great, great. More meaning. More, helping the community beyond yourself. Yeah, great. Anybody else want to say that? Yes.
I'd like to volunteer at the Skyline. They have a graphic arts program up there.
You say that again?
I said I'd like to volunteer at the Skyline Graphic Arts program. Skyline High School has a program for the arts and
wonderful.
So anyway.
Wonderful. Thank you.
One here?
Okay.
I could probably do it without a microphone, but
Go for it.
well, actually, my eyes are tearing up is because my mom, who's 87, is doing okay and everything, and I'm kind of like the primary caregiver. I live at home with her, so seeing this nursing facility and the dog, but then for me is to take more of a positive emotion. It's been hard, but now, kind of after hearing Linda Williams saying, you wake up in the morning and you're blessed with this day, and we keep going. So that's what I'm going to take away here, is trying to be more positive and make each day count and be more creative with the meals that I cook and everything, because I'm not a cook.
But you will be.
I will be, so that's
Awesome.
my next
Okay.
activity. I
Awesome.
can share that cookbook one day. or
There you
something.
go. That's awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Fabulous.
Thank you. All right. You're next.
Great. Fabulous. So lots of good ideas, and we need to learn from the experience of others. We said earlier there's not a whole lot of role models and that we're pioneers. Not everybody can be Tony Bennett and still sing when they're 85, right? But the more you look, the more this gets on the radar, the more you'll discover people doing interesting things. So one of the sessions at the program is on informational interviewing. Why not informational interview? People who have successful retirements or they've created successful lives. Find out what they've done. And find out what their struggles are. Because sometimes there's a lot of stories written about the successes. And it's like, oh, she had this idea, she created this, she said, but oh, it's easy, right? Well, it might not be a straight path upward, right? There might be some stops and starts. It might take you 6 months to get the right volunteer opportunity. So you have to be prepared for that and know that it's a lot of experiences and a lot of scene changes. Did you know that more people starting businesses today are 50 and older than ever before? So many of us are taking our hobbies, our talents, our interests, or even something brand new and starting businesses or becoming what we call now, and there's a new word, maybe it's going to be in the dictionary, called a slasher career. So I'm a writer, I'm a swim coach, I'm a photographer, and then creating a life well lived from doing many different things, even some with income stream, because some of us are going to want to continue to earn money in some fashion. So nothing wrong with that either. And constantly look for people who are successful and learn from them and help inform your next steps. So the time to plan, aren't you all here? The next opportunity, right? That's why you're all here today. So I applaud, we applaud you for coming into this room and being willing to say, yeah, this is what I need to be thinking about. You know, I'm at this awkward age where I'm working, but I'm also thinking about next steps. I want to stay engaged and do the best job that I can do at work, but I'm thinking about what I'm going to do after I leave the structure of this wonderful institution. So we really applaud you for your courage in taking the first planning step. And so much about retirement, really it is about finances, but this is really about what are you going to do with your life.
So we are challenging you this morning to leave here and launch your powerful third act. Even if you're at the tail end of your second act or the middle of your second act, think about launching a powerful third act. So adopt a new paradigm for aging. Recruit those superheroes, those R words, let's look at things in a different way. Let's look at the positives of aging. Create and find a like-minded community. For instance, your folks here, maybe there are people in your workplace that you can continue to connect with. It makes a huge difference because many people, I tell you from my experience in coaching and therapy, they think they're alone in this third age and in this retirement. So reach out and talk to your friends and colleagues about creating a like-minded community. Focus on your well-being using the PERMA model. Plan and create a life well lived. It's important to plan. If you don't plan, your life will just happen to you. This is it. Life is short and it's getting shorter now. So now is the time to plan. If you haven't planned before, take the opportunity now. And I think, so this is our final slide, and I'm using the same airplane to encourage you to take off, to lift off, and to think about the question that Mary Oliver asks. I don't know if you're familiar with this poem, but she says, tell me, what is your plan for your one wild and really precious life? This is your precious life. So that's it.
Well, that's it. So thank you. You have been a fantastic audience.
Wonderful.
We
Thank
just
you.
love, you guys are vibrant and energetic, and just your smiles and your have encouraged us. You can connect with us. We've left you a card with our website and information on how to find out more about the work that we do. And if you're interested in getting a resource list of books and materials and websites that we use, that we've vetted out, we recommend, send us an email.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to share that list with you.
Absolutely.
And I'd just like to say before everybody leaves, please, please, please fill out the evaluations that were on the table so we can make sure that we give everybody feedback on how great these speakers were today and hopefully have them back again. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.